Abbott to call a special election so our constituents have federal representation. I'll make my statement first, and then each of my colleagues have something to say on this issue because that vacant seat affects our constituents. I've got one thing to say to Governor Abbott today. Barbara Jordan must be spinning in her grave. Congresswoman Jordan not only represented Texas's historic 18th Congressional District, but was also the first Black woman ever elected to Congress in the South. She famously said, "My faith in the Constitution is whole, it is complete, it is total." It is a sad day in Texas when we can't say the same thing about our governor. The truth is that Governor Abbott is rigging the U.S. Congress to protect Republicans. My constituents in House District 147, who all reside in the historic 18th Congressional District, are without representation in Washington today only because he knows that Congressional District 18 will elect a Democrat. That is their choice under the Constitution, Mr. Governor. As a state representative, I work with Congresswoman Jackson Lee and also with Congressman Sylvester Turner, and we partnered on issues to deliver results for our collective constituents. Right now, our communities are missing that state and federal punch that we had before the seat became vacant. That, Governor, is unacceptable. Please call a special election today and let the people vote. Next, Senator Molly Cook will speak.
Thank you so much, Representative. Thank you for gathering this morning for this important message, and mine is brief. The people of Congressional District 18 are paying their taxes right now. They are suffering from the results of federal policy that is coming down day after day after day. They're watching the news, and there's no one there to speak their voices to the powers that be. And people not only deserve fair representation in these policies that are affecting them, they need constituent services. And right now they are being denied the person who can run point for that district to make sure that folks are drawing down the federal dollars that they need, accessing the services that they have a constitutional right to, and being represented fairly in Congress. So we call on the governor, call the special election, and get us fair representation for the folks of Congressional District 18. Thank you.
Next, Representative Christina Morales.
Yes. Hi, I stand in solidarity with these amazing women leaders that I get to work with, and I thank Representative Jolanda Jones for putting this together, because right now there are over 800,000 Texas in Congressional District 18 who don't have a voice in Congress. They can't get help with the passport, and this is Democrats and Republicans alike. They can't get called their representative for a veterans issue. Veterans are not being helped right now, or an immigration concern when we see mass deportations happening in our community. They can't be heard on legislation that directly impacts their lives. Again, Democrat or Republican. This is not a political problem, this is a human problem. Governor Abbott has yet to say a word about when he'll call this special election, and every day he delays it is another day our families, some of my constituents, those constituents living in Congressional District 18 go without the services they need and the representation they deserve. We are here to say, enough waiting. Texans in District 18 deserve answers, they deserve an election, they deserve action, and they deserve a seat at the table now. Thank you.
Next, Representative Charlene Ward Johnson.
Thank you. I come to you today standing in the seat that the late Congressman Sylvester Turner held for 27 years. Serving his community was important to him. Congressional District 18 has always had a strong voice in D.C., and we want to have another strong voice in D.C. We are telling the governor that we want our representation and our voice heard. The longer that he waits, we are losing out on agencies that are being changed. We're losing out on funding and important votes that impact our district. We need someone in Congressional District 18 that's going to be our voice. We're paying our taxes. We're coming to work. We deserve somebody that's going to work in Austin on behalf of the people of Congressional District 18. We are calling on our voice, and we are calling for this election to be called as soon as possible. We can no longer wait. You are playing politics with the people of Congressional District 18, and we will not stand by for it. Thank you.
Next, Representative Lauren Ashley Simmons.
Good morning. It is unfortunate that we have to take a pause in our mourning of the late Congressman Sylvester Turner to urge the governor to do his job. Now is not the time for partisan politics. We have constituents in Congressional District 18 that are not only left voiceless, but are losing out on services and being attacked by the federal government on a daily basis. We stand here in solidarity as state legislators who are working on behalf of our constituents every single day, but they need federal representation. And let's be clear, this is taxation without representation, which is wholly unconstitutional. So we are urging Governor Abbott to do his job, call the special election to ensure that the people of Congressional District 18 have a voice in D.C. Thank you.
And I'm going to speak for Senator Boris Miles, who's been in the legislature both as a representative and now as a senator for a long time. And I'm asked to read this, and I will. So this is what Senator Boris Miles has to say. Dear Governor Abbott, as you are aware, on March 5th, 2025, the Honorable Sylvester Turner, U.S. Representative for the 18th Congressional District, passed away, leaving a vacancy for the district. Unlike other positions that can be filled by appointment, his sudden death left a vacancy that cannot be filled by appointment. It can only be filled by special election set solely by you. Although your office has publicly indicated that you intend to set the election, there has been no indication of when the election will be set. I'm writing to urge you to set a date for the special election for the 18th Congressional District. This is of particular concern to me because the 18th Congressional District also overlaps with Senatorial District 13, which I represent. The Texas Election Code states that it is the intent of the legislature that the application of the Texas Election Code and the conduct of elections be uniform and consistent throughout the state. Additionally, our democratic system is one that assures that all persons should be equally represented on the local, state, and federal level. However, the current vacancy in the 18th Congressional District leaves many of the constituents in my district without representation and without a voice in Congress. Due to the tragic and unforeseen deaths of 2 representatives, the constituents have now been without representation for a big part of the past year, with no representation in sight until an election is called and a candidate is selected. As indicated by the code, your conduct in setting the special election should be uniform and consistent throughout the state and for all constituents. In at least 3 instances in the past, you have chosen to act immediately and decisively when calling a special election. In 2024, following the death of Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, you called a special election within 2 weeks of her passing. In 2018, you suspended state law and called for a special election after Rep. Blake Farenthal's seat was vacated, even though a primary election was set for a few months later. In 2022, you indicated that it was imperative to fill the vacancy of U.S. Rep. Philemon Vea, Jr. to ensure his district was represented as soon as possible. In addition to these examples, there are instances in the state elections where you have also acted quickly to call a special election to assure that a district and its constituents are not without representation. In 2020, you issued a proclamation setting an emergency special election to replace Senator Pat Fallon on August 23, 2020, with the election to be held on September 29, 2020. In 2018, you issued a proclamation on November 9th, ordering an expedited special election on December 11, 2018 for the Texas State Senate after the resignation of Sylvia Garcia. You honored the request of Rep. Garcia, who stated that thousands would be without representation in the state legislative session without the call of that election. In 2019, another special election was called in January 2019 due to the vacancy created when Senator Alvarado vacated her state representative seat after winning the seat vacated by Sylvia Garcia. These are only a few examples where you have acted in the best interest of the constituents regardless of party affiliation. It is for these reasons that I urge you to move forward in making the same proclamation and calling a special election for the 18th Congressional District. The time has passed for it to be feasible for the seat to be placed on the election already set for May 3rd. However, based upon past actions by you, an election before the end of May is possible should you choose to act immediately and decisively. I'm imploring you to set the earliest date possible for the special election for Congressional District 18. The citizens of this district have a right to be represented. They deserve nothing less. Sincerely, Senator Borcel Niles. And I will close with this. There's a reason we came here. There's a reason we did this at the Capitol. There's a reason that we're all elected with constituents who live in Congressional District 18. There's a void that needs to be filled. I thank my colleagues for coming here earlier than we have to be here. I thank Representative Morales for stepping out of her committee meeting to come here, because this is serious business. It's a serious matter, and we are respectfully, and I'll say that again, we are respectfully asking the governor to call a special election now. Our constituents deserve it. They've paid for it, and we're watching you. If anyone has any questions, we're happy to answer them. But otherwise, that's really all we had to say. It's simple. Governor Abbott, call the election today.